We're still up on the tripod. Hi guys, Jasper here. A short video from the trail. Well, a resupply day and a zero from the trail. So right now I am on day 17 of my northbound through hike of the Bruce Trail here in Ontario, Canada. And I live in Ontario, and I'm actually at my home right now. Today I only did 15 kilometers on trail. I was picked up by Joanne. She brought me to resupply. We came home. I'm spending the evening at home. Tomorrow is a zero, just working on some gear. Friday morning, I hit the trail, continue north. Right now at about 440 kilometers into the 900 kilometer trail, or 600 miles from Niagara Falls to Tobermory. But I want to give you a little bit of an update on a couple of things really, well, three things really. Footwear, trekking poles, and tent, or tent shelters. So let's start off with footwear. So on this particular hike, I went with my all-time Altra shoes, and I always use Altra for all of my through hikes. I prefer them over anything else. I've never found anything that compares. But on this particular hike, I use this particular pair of shoes. This is Altra's Olympus. And Altra created this shoe to compete with the Hoka Speedgo. Up to the point of me getting those, I'd always been a Lone Peak fan, the Altra Lone Peaks. I use 3 of the Altra models. I use a Superior, the Lone Peaks, and the Olympus. Something I've noticed about the Olympus, this being the longest hike I've done in them, last fall, I did do the West Island Way, a yo-yo of that trail in Olympus shoes, and they were fine. There was no moisture. It was dry pretty much all the time. But not so here in Ontario on this Bruce Trail. And what I've learned is when these get wet, they stay wet. Now, they're a great shoe. Zero drop, wide toe box, splay the feet, minimal blisters, if any. I don't even carry a blister kit. The Vibram sole is amazing. These are the grippiest trail runners I've ever used. They're amazing. But they maintain, they hold, they keep the moisture. So if you wake up in the morning, you gear up and off you go out of camp. If you walk through some wet grass that's got dew on it, your feet are soaked for the rest of the day. Unlike the Lone Peaks. The Lone Peaks have always been my favorite anyhow. Now, don't get me wrong, the Olympus have their place, but I don't think their place is as a through hiking shoe. So when I continue north on Friday, today being Wednesday evening, I am going back to my Lone Peak. These are my Altra Lone Peak. These are Lone Peak 5.0. These are about half spent. So they'll be totally spent by the time I complete the remaining 450 kilometers of this particular trail. These have always dried very, very, very quickly for me of all my Lone Peaks. So I'm happy to be doing that because I hate wet feet all day. Now, another shoe that I do use sometimes, and I've mentioned this before, is the Asics Gel Venture series. And I did use those on my through hike of the Appalachian Trail 2022 in Pennsylvania, Rocksylvania. Rather than the Lone Peaks, I went with a little more protection from the rocks, and so I went with the Asics Gel Venture 7. But they too retain the water. So, as a through hiking shoe is the Olympus, the Cat's Meow. Unfortunately, it's not, no, but if I was a guy that got up on a Saturday morning and wanted to trail run for a couple of hours, these are probably the best shoes you could pick for it. Secondly, if I'm just going out for a day hike, probably fine. But for a through hike, forget about it. When they get wet, they stay wet. You cannot have that on a through hike in a through hiker's world. Second thing I want to talk about, trekking poles. I have been using the Trekology trekking poles on this particular hike, and they're good poles. There's nothing wrong with them, except This one clip, no matter what I do with it, keeps coming undone. It keeps coming undone all by itself. And it's annoying. It snags on things when it does that. And when you put pressure on it, of course, in a downward motion, it fails. So those Trekology poles have not been a success for me. Again, maybe okay if I'm just going out for a day of training or something, probably fine. But for a through hike, no. But what I had ordered anyhow was a pair of trekking poles that I used before. These are called Life Fit. By the way, those Trekologies are aluminum. These are called Life Fit. And actually, sorry, they're called the Fit Life. The Fit Life, not Life Fit, the Fit Life. These are carbon fiber poles. You can buy them in Ontario at a reasonable price of around 75 Canadian dollars. A cork handle, nice rubber below, good straps, and carbon fiber. I had these before and I used them on the Colorado Trail, but then I broke a tip, and when I went to replace the tip, not being familiar with replacing a tip on carbon fiber, of course I took the pliers to it and I ended up crushing the carbon fiber and destroying the pole. But I now have new ones. I'd ordered them a couple of weeks ago. They arrived, and that's what I'll be setting out with on Friday. Third thing, shelters. For the first 450 kilometers of this particular hike, I have been using my Durston X-Mid 1. And that Durston X-Mid 1 is a sil poly fabric, silicone impregnated or infused polyester. And I like that about the tent. It's a trekking pole tent, so it's light. It's a one-person tent. Now, my other tent, the tent I used all the time up to getting the Durston X-Mid 1, was the Copper Spur Big Agnes UL2. And I dug that out earlier, just before I started recording. I was going to take some pictures of it, but then I took it down and never thought about it. Because when I leave on Friday, I will be taking that tent with me. And here's why. First of all, it's 1 pound 2 ounces heavier than my X-Mid 1. Okay, fine. Weight is crucial. Weight kills on trail. I get it. I miss the space of a two-person tent. But more than that, a few nights ago, I was on the edge of a raging thunderstorm. And I was laying there in my X-Mid 1, not able to sleep, thinking to myself, well, how is this tent actually going to hold up? I didn't have the confidence in that piece of equipment. Whereas if I'd have been in my Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2, I would have just rolled over and gone to sleep, because that tent has been through hell with me. And it's proved itself over and over and over again. So with that said, I'm not ruling out the future for the X-Mid 1. I'm just noticing things about it that I'm not liking. Also, what I don't like about that tent is the mesh inner is extremely fragile. Just a little scratch like that with a fingernail and you can tear that thing. It's extremely fragile. And we've spoken before in the past about ultralight equipment being not durable. Well, there's a lot of ultralight equipment out there that is durable. So to save weight, where they're saving weight is simply by not having poles. They're saving weight by making it a trekking pole tent and making some of the fabrics a little too light. That's what I'm thinking. But again, I used it on last year's half Bruce Trail that I did, the 450 kilometers of the southern half. I use it on the Yo-Yo of the West Island Way. And I've used it on 450 kilometers now on the Bruce Trail. So I've got somewhere around 1,500 kilometers, let's just say 1,000 miles on it, however many nights that is. And I still have my doubts about it. I'm still not confident with it. And I just don't think it's durable as it should be. It's certainly not as durable as my Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. So that is what I'll be leaving with on Friday, by the way. Please like, share, comment, and do subscribe. If you are following me on the Bruce Trail Facebook page, then you'll know exactly what I'm doing right now, because I post on there every single day. So if not, maybe check that out. That's Bruce Trail Facebook page, and follow Jasper on there. And the videos for this particular trail will come out starting in June, just as soon as I finish the next 450 kilometers, which again, start Friday. Again, like, share, comment, do subscribe. If you subscribe, it helps us bring material and content to you. We can all learn, we can all share. Have a good night, guys.